I haven't got a lot to share today.
Great. Okay, let me just see if I'm... Yeah, we are live on Facebook, and we're live now on my webinar software. So, yeah, thanks, everyone. Sorry for the few minutes delay. I hope you're having a great day. It is 9 o'clock, just past 9 o'clock UK time, obviously in the evening. So I think it's 1 o'clock where Gary is on the West Coast in America, 1 p.m. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to introduce you to Gary. He's just going to quickly introduce himself as a cryptocurrency expert. If you've got any questions regards to cryptocurrency or the alternative coin space, anything to do with digital currency, cryptocurrency, put the questions in the chat, and then we can hopefully help everyone answer those questions. But this is hopefully going to be a weekly event at the same time. Sort of the first 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, probably maximum, all to do with cryptocurrency, as I was just saying, digital currency, and also alternative coins, as they call them, altcoins. So, Gary, yeah, over to you. Gary Corner from Altcoin today. And if you just want to introduce yourself and probably just start talking about, I suppose, the big news today of the price of Bitcoin is obviously, I think, hit an all-time high, and it's also gone higher than the price of gold as well. So over to you, Gary.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. We do want to keep this pretty general and across the board and just kind of try to keep people updated as to what's going on in this world we called cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and other altcoins. It's a really exciting day. Bitcoin has indeed passed its all-time high. We're sitting at a $20,394,000,000 market cap with that. That means that this is a real industry. I mean, Google is a $500 billion business and obviously one of the biggest ones on earth. Bitcoin, if you look at each Bitcoin as a share of this company, this is a real company. This isn't a maybe thing anymore. It's so far beyond guessing and Ponzi schemes and all these other things, drug markets and all this stuff that the mainstream media has been trying to tell us that Bitcoin is. This is a real opportunity. It's a real business. It's a real product. It's something that you can actually put your money into and feel pretty comfortable that you're going to be a lot better off in the future than you are today. And, you know, it was a real hit and miss. When I first got into it, it was literally a theory. There were hardly any places that you could use it. It was very difficult to go in and out of fiat money. And if you don't know what fiat is, we call that fake money, aka anything that the governments are producing, which is backed by nothing, and with exception of the threat of death by those governments. There's nothing backing it. It all comes at us with interest. It's fake. It's a complete scam on the human race, and it's going to pop here pretty soon. And pretty soon, I don't know when. Who knows when? But the euro against the dollar has gone down 8%, which is part of the reason Bitcoin took such a tremendous spike today. People are losing faith in the fiat system. People are starting to understand. There's enough people like me around the world talking about what real money is, what real currency is. And people are starting to understand that everything that we've been taught since we were in grade school, I'm 48 years old, was a lie. It's all a lie. And, you know, if you want to be safe, you want to be secure, you're going to want to position yourself in gold, silver, and obviously now, being that one Bitcoin's worth more than an ounce of gold, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, if you want to speculate a little bit and see how the future evolves, there's a number of very significant other altcoins and other cryptocurrencies that are worth considering. So that's kind of where we're at this week. We're real excited about the fact that Bitcoin is performing as well as it is. Here's another thing that's really interesting about Bitcoin. When it gets silly and starts taking off, a lot of people make some silly decisions. Now, I'm going to share something that isn't 100% accurate, but I've noticed a trend over the last 4 years, and actually more the last 12 to 14 months. It seems kind of interesting that the price of Bitcoin between Monday and Thursday, typically Wednesday, Thursday is in its high range. Then it starts to drop off through the weekend. Sometimes it's hitting its low Friday, Saturday, and generally starting to come back up on Sunday, which, of course, I'm talking West Coast America time. So it might be 6 to 12 hours ahead or behind for other people. But Bitcoin tends to get a little soft on the weekend. So when you see the price going up like this, no, it's going to retract. There's going to be miners that are going to need to sell some Bitcoins to pay for the mining hardware. That is just a standard fact of life with Bitcoin. There's always going to be a retraction anytime it hits these highs. But if you look at this the same way I do, and that this is a long-term position that, you look week after week, month after month, year after year, just like myself, you're going to find that just holding strong, holding long, with all of the cryptocurrencies that are in your portfolio are going to tend to be a very positive experience for you. But if you are thinking about dumping some money in, just listen to my advice and kind of watch it. You don't want to watch it for 2, 3, 4 weeks because, of course, it goes from $1,000 to $1,300. But kind of look through a week span and try to find that soft moment when it comes back off of its highs. And like I said, that's generally Friday, Saturday, Sunday is when you kind of want to buy. And if you are a person who's doing trading, again, the prices seem to go up between Monday and Wednesday. Sometimes it's Thursday, potentially into Friday. But generally through the week, Bitcoin gets really hot, and that might be a time if you want to sell and try to reaccumulate more for that trade. Wait until the weekend to do it, to place your bids in there. But
okay, that's a good point, guys. So what are you saying? That the Bitcoin price tends to drop towards Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So then it's time to buy. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, generally, anytime I'm doing any trades, I kind of wait until the weekend to set my orders, and hopefully I pick them up before Monday hits and it starts going up again. Every once in a while you get lucky because, like I said, the miners have to sell their Bitcoins to pay for the hardware and the power that they're using to mine Bitcoin. And sometimes you see these really significant sell-offs, and it starts a cascade effect because there's a lot of traders who use what we call bots. They're basically automated trading tools that are triggered anytime there's a sharp sell-off. They trigger and start selling too. And that's why sometimes you see Bitcoin's going along just great, uptrend, and all of a sudden it looks like you just jumped off a cliff and it drops by $50 or $60 per unit. It's because a large miner started selling, and then the bots, the auto traders that the traders use, follow suit. And that's why you see such sharp drops. And sometimes if you're lucky, you can be $10 or $15 below what you would think the Bitcoin would go to, and it'll actually dip down into that for a few seconds, and it'll fill those orders. And I've done that a number of times, and it's kind of fun when that happens.
Right, okay, that's great information. So I'm just looking on CoinDesk now, and I always check on CoinDesk or Bitstamp or even CoinMarketCap.com. The price right now is $1,270. So do you think, obviously it's all speculation, but it's always tempting to try and sell a load. Like I've got about 260 Bitcoin. It's always tempting to sell a load at this price and get out and then hope the price drops and then buy it all back. That's tempting, isn't it? But it could carry on. If I did that today or tomorrow, it could then potentially carry on going up, couldn't it? So I would have made a bad decision then.
That's the true crux of the problem. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with more than about 20 Bitcoins, if you're playing in the markets, you yourself are going to start moving the markets because a relatively sudden order of 100 or 200 Bitcoins or more at one time can cause those bots to trigger. And so when you start dealing with that quantity, it becomes very difficult. But most people are generally talking between $5,000 and $15,000 worth of Bitcoins. Yes, if you have $5,000 to $15,000 worth of Bitcoins, it might make a little bit of sense. And if you want to use $5,000 to $15,000 worth of those Bitcoins, Adrian, and just capitalize a little bit, then obviously you're not losing your whole basket if it goes to $4,000 overnight. But you can start making a little extra week to week with that. And that's generally what I do. Now, I'm very afraid of moving large sums of Bitcoins over to exchanges because I knew that Bitcoin was going to go up from the $350 mark that it was at based on the Bitcoin halving. And, of course, it went up to the 700 and something level. And I was all set to sell all of my Bitcoins when it spiked up and pick back up and accumulate more when it got down to 450 again after the little run. It got down to $400 to $500. Well, here's the problem. I sent $100,000 worth of Bitcoins over to Bitstamp or Bitfinex. And literally 3 days later, they got hacked and they did a bail in with all of their users' funds. Essentially, I lost about $38,000 having that much money sitting on an exchange at risk. The exchanges do a really good job. Bitfinex has done a really good job trying to make their customers whole. I'm down now from $38,000 lost to about 18. So, I haven't lost everything, but you don't want to do lock, stock, and barrel of your whole portfolio into an exchange and try to manipulate that large of a volume.
Okay, that's a great answer. Cheers for that, Gary. What about this thing I got you? I just bought this a while ago, actually a couple of months ago. It's a Trezor. I only actually activated this today, done my first transaction of moving money from my blockchain account to this offline wallet. Do you recommend that strategy, or would you leave all your Bitcoin on an online wallet like Bitstamp or blockchain, or would you recommend moving offline to something like this?
Well, those Trezor wallets are pretty cool. I don't have one yet. I've actually never tested one. I've heard nothing but rave reviews about it. I think that's a great place for coins to be. I mean, obviously, if it's sitting on your own hardware wallet in your own safe, in your own possession, the world can't touch it. However, houses burn down and thieves get in, then they can get it. So, it's kind of a 50-50 there. I do believe that's a very good way to keep some coins. I personally have a number of blockchain.info wallets that I keep a majority of my coins at. I spread them around. That's the bottom line. I do spread them around. I don't keep all my coins in one account.
Yeah, that's a good point, that is, because something like this, you wouldn't leave a couple of $100,000 worth dollars of this on you and then leave it at home. Like you just said, your house got broken into, or you were even attacked. You'd have to, there's nothing on you at the moment. But when I move it onto you, I'm better off putting this somewhere else, isn't I? Better off hiding this or putting it into a vault, into a bank somewhere, or completely hiding it. You think, or what?
Well, of course, you don't own anything inside banks, including safe deposit boxes and things like that. I mean, if things got really bad, they can actually repossess or acquire everything in their safe deposit boxes. It's their property, technically. We're getting really doomsday when I say something like that. Of course, it makes more sense to have it in a safe deposit box than it does sitting on your living room floor.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not able to back this up once or twice or three times, can you? And put it in three separate places, can you? So it's only if I got a couple of hundred coins on you, then they can only be on you, those coins. I can't back them up onto another one, can I?
Yeah, I don't believe that you can. I have not personally used the Trezor wallet, and I'm not sure if it works like other cryptocurrency, like Fuelcoin, Capricorn, these other wallets. I'm not sure if that wallet.dat file is able to be copied to multiple Trezor wallets. I'm not familiar with that. I don't know if they allow you to do that. If they do, I would personally at least own two and have at least one backup. When I do my backups of my crypto coins onto USB drives, which I do put into two separate safes, not safe deposit boxes, but safes, one at my daughter's house and one at my house, and then one I keep in my toolbox. Anyway, I do that because I'm afraid of the device itself failing. What if that Trezor that you have has got a couple $100,000 worth of Bitcoin on it and it stopped working? If you don't have a mirror copy of it, then you're kind of out of luck. That's the only reason I haven't actually purchased one of those and started using one of those yet. I guess I am at risk because I am trusting blockchain, but my personal view is that if blockchain.info goes down or is hacked or whatever, the bottom line with Bitcoin is it's quote unquote secure and safe. If somebody can crack a Bitcoin wallet through blockchain.info, then everything we've been talking about, SHA 256, the greatest security algorithm in the history of humanity, is a lie. So Bitcoin's over if that happens. That's the reason why I kind of trust blockchain.info with my coins. But again, I do use multiple wallets. Just, you never know. Maybe I was lazy and somebody actually had a keylogger and saw me typing in my wallet address identifier and then my password. Then they only have access to a certain amount of coins. But
yeah, Yeah. So what you're saying is then blockchain.info is a lot more secure than the likes of Coinbase or Bitstamp or all these other wallets. Is that what you're saying to a certain degree? Or
Well, absolutely, because Coinbase has a number of user interactivities, ports, so that you can trade and you can log in. You got an account. You got all of these relatively, in comparison to what the blockchain security SHA-256 is, they have some relatively insecure portals that people access. That's why I don't like to leave my money on an exchange, or Coinbase is an exchange. Bottom line, they're an exchange. They're not just a wallet, they're an exchange. So those Bitstamp, Bitfinex, Huobi, all these other ones, these are exchanges. And because of their user interface, where people are getting in and out of their platform, it does have a vulnerability that Bitcoin itself does not have. And blockchain.info uses Bitcoin's protocol to secure your coins.
right, okay, that's great. That's great to hear. One more question from myself. Unless anyone else has got any questions. These Winklevoss brothers, which is on Bloomberg. You see a lot of these guys on there. What's this? They're talking about they're waiting for an SEC result, something to do with ETFs, traded Bitcoins on to ETFs. Have you heard about that?
Absolutely, it's been something that has kind of been driving to a degree the price of Bitcoin. The major price move from the $220 mark to the $550 mark or $600 mark was the Bitcoin halving that happened this last summer. And obviously after the halving was done, we floated in at about 780, 790, somewhere around there after all the dust settled. Now, the Bitcoin ETF fund that the Winklevoss twins are putting together, they're getting a final decision on March 14th. I get them screwed up. Is it May or March? It's March.
Yeah.
March 14th, they're going to have a final approval or disapproval of listing Bitcoin on a New York-based stock exchange, which will open it up to all of the rest of the money around the world. People who, it's estimated there's going to be about $300 million in a 12-hour period that'll be dumped into that market, which will cause Bitcoin to rise sharply. Some conservative estimates suggest that if they get an approval, that Bitcoin will probably be around $1,650. And like I said, that's
the SEC, not the best people to work with, are they? I know they from the MLM network marketing niche, they're absolute nightmare people to work with. What they like to work with? What if it could go the other way? Then they could deny it.
Yeah, it's kind of these highs that we're sitting at right now. Again, these price predictions or these prices that we have today are to a degree being driven by a positive outcome to that decision. I would imagine that if they deny it, if the SEC does deny the platform, that we will see a pretty significant retraction in the price of Bitcoin. It doesn't mean it's a death sentence.
Yeah, it's saying your decision is due by the 11th of March. Is that an accurate date, or is this March 11th?
I thought it was 14th. I think the actual day is the 14th. Let me take a look at a calendar real quick, and I'll tell you.
It's saying on Bloomberg, a decision is due by March the 11th. So unless you've got a more accurate date, but that's.
I was under the incredible understanding that they would actually make the announcement on the 14th, Tuesday, the 14th of March.
So is it like a 50-50 gamble which way it's going to go? And obviously, it could. Is it more in?
It's leaning more towards the approval than the disapproval. I would say that it's probably a 70-30, 70% that it will. And most people agree that it will. There's just too much activity. There's too much interest. There's people on President Trump's cabinet that are very pro-Bitcoin. In fact, I can't remember what position he has. I think it has to do with economic development. He actually owns some of these platforms that we all use. And so, there's a pretty significant positive side to the guesstimates on this one.
Do you think some people are going to get out just before the decision and dump their coins just in case the decision goes the other way and the price drops? Or do you think people are going to keep their coins and ride through it, do you think?
I think there's going to be a whole bunch of people like me who are going to be ready to push the button to sell if there's a negative. I mean, I'll be watching live at that point with an order set to sell the second I find a decision. If there's no if it's a positive decision, I won't hit the button. But I'm not going to be alone in the world doing that. I think that we're going to see if that's a negative decision, I think we're going to see a very significant sell off of Bitcoin, and it'll probably take several months for it to recover.
All right. Do you think will that be live on Bloomberg or Sky News, or probably Bloomberg is going to be live with it? Do you think?
Most likely on Bloomberg.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That's great. That's an important one, really, isn't it? We need to be on the ball with that one, really. Certainly myself as well. As you said, finger on the button. It could be quite a challenging time if this starts to get negative. The actual talk, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I assume we're probably going to get some rumors, a little bit more clear rumors. There's always a leak on the street, probably sometime around March 9th, 10th, 11th, like you suggested. That's probably why you heard the 11th, because they'll probably have made a decision by the 10th.
Right, okay. Okay, just finally, let's talk about alternative coins, altcoins. Obviously, Fuelcoin's not having a good time. Is it? The price is sort of. Is there anything we can do with Fuelcoin to get the price sort of back on an upward trend rather than a downward trend right now? Or
well, we've been actually sitting on a relatively upward trend. I mean, right now, this very second, it's down because there was anytime Bitcoin goes up, there's generally sell-offs in the fuel market. If you look at the Satoshi price, again, that's not the correct indicator for what the price of Fuelcoin is. Right now, it's sitting at 0.000. It's 0.0043 cents. We were sitting at about a half a cent. We moved it up to 6/10 of a cent, and then to 7/10 of a cent. And believe it or not, I see a comment. Somebody said Bitcoin's really slow. It wouldn't be the case if this was Fuelcoin. About an hour and 45 minutes ago, I sent some Bitcoins over to Bittrex to at least get us back up over a half a cent on the market. So this really Fuelcoin can really get exciting if people open up and start sharing the information, and we get some orders coming in. If everybody sits and waits for somebody else to do it, we're going to sit here kind of at a flat line. We have to all figure out how to generate new Fuelcoin holders to get the price to go up. We can't just throw one-time money at it. We need to work together with it. This isn't my coin. By the way, I'm going to formally and officially tell everybody on the planet, I did not create this coin. I love this coin. I've been working with this coin since its inception, actually. But I'm actually not the original creator of it. I'm just one person who happens to know a lot about the cryptocurrency world and about money and finance. I believe that this coin is one of the most significant ones on the market today, and it's severely undervalued. But we have to get the information out there. We have to fill up these conversations, fill up these rooms, and our time that Adrian and myself are spending, we have to get these things full and get the information out for people to be interested in it. You can have the shiniest diamond in the world, but if you can't get people to come look at it, it's worthless. That's kind of what we're running into. We have to get the word out. All of us, every person listening to this who has Fuelcoins, we need to get people on these calls because this coin is an absolute gold mine. It has the potential because it's 100% distributed. It doesn't have the same down pressure. I mentioned just earlier, we were talking about we're just waiting for the retraction. These miners are going to sell their Bitcoins and push the price back down. That happens. Well, that doesn't happen with Fuelcoin because in mass, there's no reason to. There's no set incentive to sell your Fuelcoins to pay for something. You don't have a bill due every at the end of every month to pay for these miners. There's no cost associated to the Fuelcoin network. Therefore, we don't have that same automatic guaranteed downforce. We just need to get the words out. You know, people, they lose interest, they move on, they sell their coins, price of Bitcoin goes up, they sell their altcoins, not just Fuelcoin, many alts suffer when Bitcoin price goes up. because people want to cash out all of the Bitcoin they can at those top prices and hopefully reaccumulate. But this is what we've got to do as a group, as a collective, as a community, is get these rooms full of people listening to our the time that we're spending with this information, because it's very valuable. Again,
it seems like everyone's asleep, don't they? They just don't see the potential of it. This is such a cheap coin. This price now is such a cheap coin. People can make a lot of money from this potentially, can't they, over the long term?
Over the long term, absolutely. And if let's talk about legitimate dollars and cents. We say the price right now is, let's just say it's just under half a cent a coin. It's literally only going to take, I'm looking here real quick, hold on.
Well, I'm sharing my BitTrack screen now anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it will take 2.5 Bitcoins worth of Fuelcoin purchases, and Fuelcoin will double in value. That's $2,500. I mean, come on. It's so easy. You know, I personally purchase all of my own fuel coins. People wonder, well, you got all these fuel coins. Well, guess what? I was buying them when they were 63 Satoshi, you know, and now they're 350 Satoshi, and they've been as high as 10,000 Satoshi. It's going to turn around. It will go up. And if anybody's smart, they would be accumulating them and holding them. And then the most important thing is, don't just buy something and let it sit in your closet. If you love it, share it. That's the most effective way to get any cryptocurrency to become relevant, is get the word out, talk to people, fill these rooms. We have the resources, we have the horsepower, mentally speaking, to answer questions and to bring a coin like Fuelcoin to the mainstream market. We have everything except customers. That's what we got to do.
And just finally and quickly, the difference between Fuelcoin and Bitcoin. What is unique about Fuelcoin and all the other coins out there is obviously, if you want to explain the difference between proof of work and proof of stake, and what is the main difference between Fuelcoin and all the other altcoins?
Well, there's essentially two types, like he's mentioning, Adrian's mentioning, there's two types of coins. There's proof of work and proof of stake. Proof of work means that somebody needs to turn on a computer that solves a math problem, and for solving the math problem, they get rewarded with new coins. So the network won't operate unless somebody is doing that, because in addition to solving these math problems and getting these free coins like Bitcoin right now, every 10 minutes, 12.5 Bitcoins are given away for free for miners who are solving these math problems. In addition to that, those miners are confirming transactions as an additional task to run their mining operations, to get those free Bitcoins. So you always have new coins coming onto the market with Bitcoin, and it costs a lot of money to solve these math problems. I mean, some of these people who are successful Bitcoin mining operations literally are spending $300,000 and $400,000 a month on power, electricity, and that's it. Not even counting the hardware that they purchase. So it's not an insignificant dollar amount that's required for the network to operate. Well, then you have the proof of stake coins. Rather than having miners required to confirm transactions, the proof of stake coins rely on everybody who has a coin and an open wallet to confirm those transactions, which means there isn't that $300,000 and $400,000 a month price tag for power. It's free. So there doesn't have that automatic guaranteed, possibly done deal, you're going to have to sell some coins to pay for your power. There is no cost to the network. That makes it much less expensive to operate. So you don't have that perpetual down pressure on it. Now, there's
speed. It's a lot faster as well, isn't it? The speed.
Absolutely. Bitcoin, I mentioned just a moment ago, about an hour and a half ago, I sent Bitcoins over to Bittrex to purchase those really inexpensive fuel coins. I've been waiting an hour and a half, and it's sitting at, hold on, wallets. I have 0 of 2 confirmations required. And by the way, a full confirmed block on Bitcoin is 6 confirmations. That is a minimum of 1 hour, because it's 10-minute block times, and it needs 6 confirmations to be fully confirmed. There's a lot of places that do 0 and like Bittrex 2 confirmations on a Bitcoin transaction, but it's not fully confirmed even for 6 transactions. And if the network's really busy, which it is, all of those miners, it's a set finite number of miners processing all of those transactions. It could take probably 2 or 3 more hours before the Bitcoins that I sent to Bittrex are able to be used. Fuelcoin has a 3-minute block time, and it will generally, you will see the coins in under 3 seconds and be able to use them if you're using a 0 or 1 confirmation block time, almost always under 3 minutes. So that's significantly faster. And that's one of the reasons that the Fuelcoin was developed the way it was to increase that performance, because it doesn't make any sense to go into, if I was at a grocery store spending Bitcoins on groceries, I would still be waiting for an hour and a half to get out of there.
So how will Bitcoin ever go mainstream and into the shops for buying a cup of coffee and some groceries? And if it's taking this long to transact, how will that ever happen then?
Well, they are perpetually working on the problem. There are solutions. Obviously, Fuelcoin and the X11 algorithm that it was developed around solved the problem. Hence, why it was even created. But they can't implement it without actually what they call a hard fork in the code, which means that every single wallet has to get the new wallet and relaunch for that fork to take off and take over. So they're trying different things to increase the block size to allow more transactions in a block, so there's not as big a long delay as this. And they're also working on trying to increase their block time. The biggest issue is not really the block time, because 0 confirmation transactions, you can see kind of quickly that somebody sent you a Bitcoin, but it's not even confirmed once. That's a 0 transaction confirmation. That happens very quickly. The problem is, how many transactions can they get into a block? Well, they can only get 7 a second into a block. So it's really small. The car that all of these transactions are riding is really small. It's like a little Volkswagen Beetle. What they're doing is they're increasing it to the size of a city bus. Well, now the Visa network is the size of 10 ocean liners in comparison. So Bitcoin can't handle the Visa confirmations. Visa does 250,000 transactions a second. Bitcoin does 7. So that's one of the problems, and it'll get better as they increase the block size. But there's many different theories. The Bitcoin Foundation, the core coders of Bitcoin, are working on many solutions. But that's part of the reason that you're seeing off-takes like Ethereum and some other crypto coins, because the solution's already here. They just can't implement it without major disruption in the network. So they're trying to work on ways to increase it without disrupting the network.
So it could take another 3 or 4 or 5 years then to get this out into the shops then, so we can make quick transactions then, possibly.
Well, they've already overcome some of that, because the Visa network is still a very powerful, it is the powerful network in the world. There's already utilities with Bitcoin like bitpay.com/Visa. You can order a Visa debit card and you can load it with your Bitcoins, and it turns it into fiat money, and you can spend it anywhere on the Visa network. So it's not quite as critical. I can spend my Bitcoins anywhere Visa's accepted. Let's put it that way. And it's very easy to load. I do it constantly. If I need a little extra, it just takes me a few minutes to send some money over. It's not that bad.
But you're paying that. You're paying a fee then to obviously BitPay then, in which is defeating the object then, isn't it? Or are you paying much of a fee to BitPay then? Do that?
Well, the fee's not too bad. Compared to the banks that rob you perpetually, charging you interest on everything. They've got strange fees if they mail you a statement and stuff like that. My overall banking expense month to month doing it this way is comparable to a very inexpensive checking account, even with those fees. It's really not that much money.
Right. Okay. That's great. So,
let alone if you ever bounced a check, then you're screwed. It makes a lot more sense. You can't bounce a Bitcoin. That's what I love about them.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. Okay, then, Gary, I think that's about it. We covered quite a lot there in that little bit over time, but that's great. We're 45 minutes. So we'll try and do this every week and get everyone an update regards to Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, altcoins. It's always good to have a weekly update. So that's about it, Gary. Thanks for helping me out and coming onto this, coming onto my webinar hangout, and hopefully we can catch up again next week at the same time.
Perfect. Everybody, thank you so much for joining, and we look forward to doing it again. Take care. Have a good week.
Yeah. Cheers, Gary. Thanks a lot, mate. Catch you later.